After losing my job, my own daughter forced me out. She did not see my next move coming. The day Ravi lost his job did not begin with fear. It began like any other morning. He woke up before sunrise, sat on the edge of his bed, and rubbed his tired eyes. The house was quiet. Too quiet. His daughter Meera had already left for work, and the silence felt heavy in a way he could not explain. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest uploads. Ravi had worked at the same printing company for 27 years. He knew the machines better than his own hands. He had trained younger workers, fixed broken systems, and stayed late without complaint. He believed loyalty mattered. That belief would be tested before the sun went down. At noon, his manager called him into a small glass office. The words were polite but cold. Company losses. Downsizing. Final paycheck. No room for discussion. Ravi nodded, shook hands, and walked out carrying a thin envelope that felt heavier than any machine he had ever lifted. He stood outside the building for a long time. Cars passed. People hurried by. The world did not stop for his loss. That was the first lesson of the day. Ravi did not go home right away. He walked through the park nearby and sat on a bench. His mind moved slowly, like an old engine trying to restart. He was 62. Jobs were not waiting for men like him. Still, he told himself he had savings. He had skills. He had family. He believed those things would be enough. When he reached home, Meera was already there. She stood in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone. She did not look up when he entered. "You are home early," she said. Ravi cleared his throat. "I lost my job today." The phone stopped moving. Meera looked up slowly, her eyes sharp and calculating. There was no shock, no concern, only pause. "You mean you were fired?" she asked. "They let many people go," Ravi replied. "It was not personal." Meera crossed her arms. "And what do you plan to do now?" Ravi opened his mouth, then closed it. He had not planned that far. "I will look for something. Maybe part-time. Maybe consulting. I can manage." Meera laughed softly, not with humor, but with disbelief. "You are 62. Who is going to hire you?" The words cut deeper than Ravi expected. He felt his chest tighten. "I raised you," he said quietly. "I paid for your education. I supported you when your business failed. I never complained." Meera's face hardened. "That was the past. Things are different now." She gestured around the house. "This house runs on my income. The bills, the loan, everything. I cannot carry another burden." Ravi stared at her, unsure if he had heard correctly. "Burden?" "Yes," she said firmly. I thought you would retire with savings. I did not sign up to support an unemployed parent." The room felt smaller. Ravi looked at the walls he had painted himself, the table he had repaired, the ceiling fan he had fixed more times than he could count. "I just need time," he said. "A few months." Meera shook her head. "No. I need stability. I need peace. You need to find another place." The words landed with final weight. Ravi did not shout. He did not argue. He simply nodded. Something inside him shut down quietly, like a door closing without sound. That night, he packed a small bag. Clothes. A few old photographs. His tools. He left the rest behind. Meera watched from the doorway, arms crossed, face unreadable. "Where will you go?" she asked, not with concern but obligation. "I will manage," Ravi said. He walked out of the house he had built with his own hands. The streetlights flickered as he walked. His feet moved without direction. He felt invisible, like a man erased from his own life. He spent the night at a small bus station, sitting upright on a cold bench. Sleep came in short pieces. The next morning, Ravi went to a public library. He washed his face in the restroom and straightened his shirt. He sat at a computer and began searching for jobs. Maintenance, repairs, training roles. Most listings asked for youth, speed, and flexibility. He closed the browser slowly. A memory came to him then. Years ago, a young man named Aman had worked under Ravi at the printing company. Ravi had trained him patiently. Aman had once said, "Sir, you know more than anyone here." That thought stayed with him. Ravi left the library and walked to a small tea stall. He spent his last few coins on a cup of hot tea. As he sipped, he watched people pass. Students, workers, shop owners. Everyone was building something, moving somewhere. Ravi realized something important in that moment. He was not finished. He had been pushed out, not erased. Experience did not disappear because someone stopped valuing it. That afternoon, Ravi visited a community center. A sign on the wall read, "Skills workshop needed. Trainers welcome." He walked inside. The woman at the desk looked surprised. "Can I help you?" Ravi smiled politely. "I have experience. Machines, printing, maintenance, teaching." She studied him. "We run small workshops for unemployed youth. If you can teach practical skills, we can talk." Ravi felt a small spark ignite in his chest. "I can teach," he said. "I have done it my whole life." They scheduled a trial session for the next week. That night, Ravi slept on a thin mattress in a shared room at a low-cost shelter. The air smelled of detergent and tired dreams. Yet for the first time since losing his job, he slept deeply. Days passed. Ravi prepared lesson plans using borrowed paper. He practiced explaining machines without touching them. He remembered every mistake he had seen young workers make and how he had corrected them. The first workshop had 8 students. They were unsure, restless, and skeptical. Ravi stood before them, his back straight. "I am not here to waste your time," he said. "I am here to give you skills that feed families." Something in his voice made them listen. By the end of the session, questions filled the room. Hands rose. Interest sparked. Word spread. More students came. The community center asked Ravi to stay. They offered a small payment. It was not much, but it was honest. Ravi began repairing broken equipment in the evenings. Old printers. Small machines. Shop owners paid him quietly, grateful for affordable help. Slowly, Ravi built something new. Not a job. A purpose. One evening, as Ravi counted his modest earnings, he received a message on his phone. It was from Meera. "Are you okay?" It read. Ravi looked at the screen for a long time. He did not reply. He had learned something important. Respect returned only when self-worth stood firm. Meera had forced him out, believing he would fall. She had no idea that the ground she pushed him toward would become the place where he rebuilt himself. And Ravi was only getting started. Ravi's days began to take shape. Each morning, he woke before sunrise at the shelter, folded his blanket neatly, and stepped outside into the cool air. The city looked different now. It was no longer a place that had rejected him. It was a place where he was rebuilding himself, piece by piece. At the community center, his workshops grew larger. What started with 8 students became 15, then 20. Young men and women came carrying notebooks and quiet hope. Many had been turned away from jobs because they lacked experience. Ravi understood that pain well. He did not teach from books alone. He taught from mistakes, from years of trial, from hands that had solved problems before manuals existed. He spoke calmly, clearly, and with patience. The students listened because they felt he respected them. One afternoon, a boy named Nikhil stayed behind after class. "Sir," he said, shifting his weight nervously, "can you help me fix a machine at my uncle's shop? It has been broken for months." Ravi smiled. "Of course. We will go together." They fixed the machine in less than an hour. The uncle paid Ravi more than he expected. It was not the money that mattered. It was the look of trust. Soon, more requests came. Small shops, old equipment, broken systems others had given up on. Ravi accepted only what he could handle. He worked slowly, carefully, and honestly. At night, he began writing notes, ideas, methods, lessons. He realized he was building something more than a workshop. He was creating a system. Meanwhile, Meera's life was not moving as smoothly as she had expected. Her job demanded longer hours. A major project had failed, and pressure filled her office. At home, the house felt strangely empty. The silence she once enjoyed now felt sharp. She noticed small things missing. The sound of tools in the evening. The quiet presence of someone who fixed problems before they became disasters. One evening, her kitchen sink clogged badly. Water spilled onto the floor. She tried calling a repair service, but the cost was high, and the wait was longer. For the first time, she thought of her father not as a burden, but as a solution. The thought unsettled her. She opened her phone and reread the message she had sent days ago. No reply. Her pride burned, but worry crept in quietly. Back at the shelter, Ravi had moved into a small rented room with shared facilities. It was simple, but it was his. He placed his tools neatly against the wall and hung his clothes with care. One night, the community center manager, a woman named Anjali, asked Ravi to meet her. "You have something special here," she said. "People trust you. I want to expand this program." Ravi listened carefully. "We are planning a skill training initiative with local support," she continued. "We need a lead instructor. Someone experienced." Ravi felt his throat tighten. "You want me?" "Yes," Anjali said. "If you agree." He nodded slowly. "I agree." The role came with a steady income and responsibility. Ravi accepted both with humility. He spent the next weeks organizing schedules, mentoring assistants, and refining lessons. He worked harder than he had at his old job, but the effort felt lighter. One afternoon, a familiar face appeared at the doorway of the center. Meera stood there, uncertain, her confidence replaced by hesitation. Ravi saw her but did not react immediately. He continued speaking with a student. Meera waited. When he finally turned, their eyes met. There was no anger in his face, only calm. "Can we talk?" Meera asked. Ravi nodded and stepped aside. "I did not know you were doing all this," she said, looking around. "I did not tell you," Ravi replied. She swallowed. "I was worried." Ravi looked at her quietly. "Worry comes late sometimes." Silence stretched between them. "I made a mistake," Meera said softly. "I was afraid. I did not handle it well." Ravi listened but did not rush to comfort her. "I lost control," she continued. "Things are difficult for me too." Ravi nodded once. "I understand pressure. I lived with it for years." Meera hesitated. "You can come back home. If you want." Ravi took a slow breath. "Not now." The answer surprised her. "I am building something," he said. "I need space to finish it." Meera looked down, ashamed. "I did not think you could do this." Ravi met her eyes. "Neither did you give me time to try." Those words stayed with her long after she left. That night, Ravi sat alone in his room. He thought about forgiveness, about pride, about strength. He did not feel victorious. He felt steady. He had not acted out of revenge. He had acted out of survival and self-respect. Outside, the city moved endlessly. Inside, Ravi knew something important. He had changed. And the path ahead was about to test that change in ways neither he nor Meera could yet imagine. Ravi's new role brought respect, but it also brought pressure. Managing the training program was not easy. Funds were limited. Expectations were high. Many young people depended on the skills they learned from him to survive. Every decision mattered. Ravi spent long hours at the center. He arrived before sunrise and often left after dark. His body ached, but his mind stayed sharp. He believed that if he gave his best now, the future would grow stronger on its own. One afternoon, Anjali called him into her office. "We have been offered a partnership," she said. Ravi leaned forward. "From whom?" "A private manufacturing group," she replied. "They want skilled workers. If our trainees perform well, they will offer jobs." Ravi felt a quiet relief. "That is good news." "There is a condition," Anjali added. Ravi waited. "They want fast results," she said. "They expect strict discipline. Short training time. High output." Ravi frowned slightly. "Skills need patience." "I know," Anjali said. "But funding depends on this." Ravi left the office conflicted. He wanted an opportunity for his students, but he refused to turn learning into pressure. That night, he sat alone reviewing lesson plans, adjusting methods, and thinking deeply. He chose balance. At the same time, Meera's life continued to shift. Her company announced restructuring. Roles would change. Teams would shrink. Uncertainty filled her days. She worked harder, stayed later, and slept less. One evening, she sat alone in her large house, staring at the walls. She realized how empty success felt without someone to share it with. She remembered her father's words. "I am building something." For the first time, she wondered what she had been building. Meera visited the community center again, this time without hesitation. She watched Ravi teach. His voice was calm. His posture is steady. The students respected him. She noticed how he listened before answering. How he corrected without humiliation. How confidence grew in the room because of him. She felt something unfamiliar. Pride. Later that week, a problem struck. One of the trainees caused damage to a machine during a practice session. The manufacturing group reacted quickly. They threatened to cancel the partnership. Anjali panicked. "This could ruin everything," she said. Ravi examined the machine carefully. "Mistakes happen," he said. "What matters is how we respond." He requested a meeting with the group representatives. In the meeting, Ravi spoke calmly. "We are training humans, not machines. Skills grow through errors and correction. If you want perfect workers without learning, look elsewhere." The room fell silent. After a tense pause, the group agreed to continue, impressed by Ravi's honesty. The partnership survived. That evening, Ravi sat alone, exhausted but peaceful. He realized something important. He no longer feared being abandoned. He had built strength that did not depend on approval. A few days later, Meera received bad news. Her role at work was downgraded. Her income was reduced. Fear returned, sharp and immediate. She drove to Ravi's place that night. "I am scared," she admitted quietly. Ravi listened without judgment. "I thought control meant safety," she said. "But I was wrong." Ravi nodded. "Life does not move in straight lines." Tears filled her eyes. "Can you forgive me?" Ravi looked at her carefully. "Forgiveness is not words," he said. "It is time, effort, and understanding." Meera nodded. "I am ready to earn it." Ravi did not promise anything. He simply said, "Stay. Help. Learn." She agreed. Meera began volunteering at the center. She handled paperwork, schedules, and coordination. Slowly, she understood the weight Ravi carried daily. Respect grew naturally. But just as peace seemed close, an unexpected event approached, one that would test Ravi's strength more than losing his job ever had. A letter arrived. It carried news that could either lift everything he had built or threaten to take it all away. Ravi held the envelope in his hands, unaware that his next choice would define not only his future, but Meera's as well. The letter Ravi held that night did not look important. Plain paper. Official tone. Yet the words inside carried the power to change everything. The manufacturing group wanted to expand the training program to another city. They wanted Ravi to lead it. The offer came with better pay, wider reach, and recognition. It also came with a condition. They wanted him to move. Ravi sat quietly, reading the letter again and again. The room felt heavy. This opportunity was everything he had worked toward. It was proof that his effort mattered, that his skills still had value in a world that had pushed him aside. But moving would mean leaving behind the center he built from nothing, the students who trusted him, the fragile bond he had begun to rebuild with Meera. Meera noticed his silence. "What happened?" she asked. Ravi handed her the letter. She read it slowly, her hands shaking. "This is huge," she said. "This is what they do for people who succeed." Ravi nodded. "It is also what they take." They sat together without speaking. Meera felt torn. Part of her wanted him to accept. It would bring stability. It would prove to everyone, including herself, that she had been wrong about him. Another part feared losing him again, this time by distance rather than rejection. "You should go," she finally said. Ravi looked at her. "Why?" "Because I took your choice away once," she said softly. "I will not do it again." Those words settled deep inside him. The next day, Ravi visited the center early. He watched students arrive. Some smiled. Some waved. Some carried notebooks worn thin from use. This place was not just work. It was a living thing. Anjali joined him. "You got the offer," she said, already knowing. "Yes," Ravi replied. She waited. "I have not decided," he said. Anjali nodded. "Whatever you choose, this place stands because of you." That night, Ravi barely slept. He thought about his life before and after the fall. About how losing his job had stripped away comfort but revealed strength. About how rejection had taught him dignity. In the early hours, clarity arrived quietly. Ravi wrote his response. He declined the move. Instead, he proposed something new. He offered to train others to lead the expansion while staying rooted where the foundation was strongest. He offered a system, not a single man. Days passed without reply. Meera returned to work, carrying both anxiety and hope. She noticed changes in herself. She listened more, judged less. She no longer saw success as control, but as contribution. Finally, the response came. The group accepted Ravi's proposal. They agreed to fund the program locally while expanding under his guidance. Ravi felt a deep calm settle over him. He had not chosen safety or pride. He had chosen a purpose. The program grew rapidly. New instructors trained under Ravi. New centers opened. Jobs followed. Lives shifted. Local media took notice. One evening, Meera saw her father on a small news segment. He stood in front of the center, speaking calmly about skills, dignity, and patience. She watched with tears in her eyes. That night, she stood before him. "I am proud of you," she said. Ravi smiled gently. "I was always capable. I just needed space to show it." Meera nodded. "I see that now." Yet even as success settled in, Ravi knew the final test was not public or professional. It was personal. One decision remained. One moment that would define whether healing was complete. And that moment was closer than either of them expected. Success did not arrive gently. It came with noise, attention, and expectations. Ravi handled the growth of the program with care, but inside, he felt a quiet weight. Expansion brought pride, yet it also forced him to face something he had avoided: home. Meera had not asked him to return, but the space between them carried that unspoken question. The house still stood in his name. The memories still lived there. Forgiveness had begun, but healing was unfinished. One evening, Ravi received a call from an old neighbor. "The house has a problem," the man said. "Water damage near the back wall." It needs checking. Ravi closed his eyes slowly. That house had been his life's work. He knew every corner of it. I will come tomorrow, he said. When Ravi arrived, the house looked the same from outside, yet different inside. Meera stood at the door, nervous, uncertain. I kept it clean, she said quickly. Just like you used to. Ravi nodded and walked in. His steps were slow. Each room carried echoes. He inspected the damage calmly, fixing what he could, explaining what needed professional help. They worked in silence. Later, they sat at the table where Meera had once studied and Ravi had once planned expenses late into the night. I did not understand responsibility, Meera said suddenly. I thought providing money was enough. Ravi listened. I forgot that care is also a presence, she continued. I forgot you were human. Ravi met her eyes. I forgot to prepare you for failure, he said. I protected you too much. The truth sat between them, heavy but honest. Meera took a deep breath. I do not want you to feel unwanted ever again. Ravi nodded. Then do not make promises. Make an effort. She agreed. Days later, Ravi faced another challenge. One of the new instructors struggled. Pressure caused mistakes. Students complained. Ravi did not remove him. Instead, he mentored him closely, just as he had once mentored others. That choice saved the program from internal collapse. Meera watched this from the side. She learned that leadership was patience, not control. One night, Ravi stood outside the house, keys in hand. Meera waited quietly. I am not ready to move back, Ravi said honestly. Meera nodded. I understand. But I will visit, he added. We will rebuild slowly. That answer carried more hope than any return ever could. Ravi walked away that night feeling lighter. He had not reclaimed the house. He had reclaimed himself. And in doing so, he taught Meera a lesson no success ever had. The real climax was no longer about survival. It was about choice. The invitation arrived on a quiet morning. A formal envelope. Official tone. Ravi already sensed its weight before opening it. The city council wanted to honor the skill training program. They planned a public event. Leaders, media, and families would attend. Ravi was asked to speak. He read the letter slowly. Recognition had never been his goal, yet this moment felt important. Not for pride, but for closure. Meera insisted on attending. This is your story, she said. People should hear it. Ravi agreed. The event took place in a large hall filled with voices and movement. Students sat in the front rows. Parents stood at the back. Cameras waited. When Ravi stepped onto the stage, the room fell silent. He looked at the faces before him. Young people who once felt lost. Instructors who once doubted themselves. A daughter who once believed strength meant control. Ravi spoke calmly. I did not lose my job, he said. I lost a position. What I gained was understanding. He spoke of skills, dignity, and patience. He spoke of falling without breaking. Of standing again without bitterness. He did not mention betrayal. He did not mention pain. He spoke of choice. The audience listened deeply. At the end of his speech, applause filled the hall. Meera stood frozen, tears on her face. She finally understood the cost of her actions and the strength of his response. Later that evening, Meera and Ravi walked outside together. I was afraid of weakness, Meera said quietly. I thought you had become weak. Ravi shook his head gently. Loss does not make a person weak. Fear does. Meera nodded. I was afraid. Ravi placed a hand on her shoulder. You learned. That matters. They stopped near the house. The same house. The same door. Meera took a breath. I want you to come home. Not because I need you. Because I want you. Ravi looked at the house. Then at her. I will, he said. But we live as equals. Meera smiled through tears. Always. That night, Ravi slept in his old room for the first time since leaving. The walls felt familiar, but he felt different. He was no longer defined by work or rejection. He was defined by choice. In the months that followed, the program continued to grow. Ravi guided from a distance, trusting others. Meera supported without control, learning balance. Their relationship did not return to the past, it became better. Ravi had been forced out when he lost his job. But what he built next gave him something no position ever could. Respect, purpose, and a future no one could take away. Ravi walked without noticing where his feet were taking him. He passed a shop selling snacks, a row of motorbikes, and a small repair stall where an old man fixed fans with calm focus. Ravi paused there for a moment, watching the steady hands and the quiet confidence. He thought of his own hands. For decades, they had moved with purpose. They had tightened bolts, cleaned rollers, aligned paper stacks, and adjusted settings by sound alone. Those hands had earned his life, his home, and his daughter's education. Now, they felt useless only because one office had decided he was. His phone buzzed. A message from a former colleague, the kind he had helped many times. "Sir, I heard the news. I am sorry. If I find anything, I will tell you." Ravi stared at the screen and felt a strange mix of warmth and sadness. A single sentence carried more care than the conversation he expected from his own home. He put the phone away and kept walking. By late afternoon, hunger began to bite. He went to a small stall and bought the cheapest meal he could find. While eating, he noticed a young man nearby arguing with a shopkeeper about a broken machine. "It stopped again," the shopkeeper complained. "Every time it stops, my customers leave." The young man tried pressing buttons, then slapped the side of the machine with frustration. It did nothing. Ravi stood up slowly and moved closer. "May I see it?" he asked. The shopkeeper looked at him, unsure. "Are you a technician?" Ravi nodded. "Something like that." He crouched beside the machine, listened carefully, and opened a small side panel. The wiring was loose. The problem was simple, but the person handling it was too tense to see it. Ravi tightened a connection, adjusted a small lever, and asked the shopkeeper to try again. The machine started instantly. The shopkeeper's eyes widened. "How did you do that so fast?" Ravi wiped his hands calmly. "Because it is not only about force. It is about patience." The shopkeeper offered him money, but Ravi refused. "Keep it," Ravi said. "Just take care of the machine. It is like a living thing." As he walked away, Ravi realized something important. His skills were still real. The company had removed his badge, not his ability. That thought gave him enough strength to go home. When he reached the house, the air inside felt tense even before Meera spoke. The kitchen light was on, and Meera's heels clicked on the floor like a warning. She moved around the kitchen quickly, like someone already angry, already prepared. Ravi sat down slowly, choosing his words carefully. "I lost my job," he said again, softer this time. "But I will find a way." Meera did not sit. She stayed standing, as if sitting would make her feel less powerful. "Find a way," she repeated. "You always say that. But you don't understand what is happening now." Ravi looked up. "Tell me." Meera's jaw tightened. "I have a loan. I have bills. I have work stress. I have no room for surprises." Ravi nodded, trying to stay calm. "Then let us plan." Meera shook her head sharply. "Plans do not stop reality. Reality needs money." Ravi felt his throat tighten. "I have some savings." Meera's eyes narrowed. "How much?" "Enough for 2 years. 3 years. What if you get sick? What if prices rise? I cannot live with this fear." Ravi's hands clenched, then relaxed. He chose control over emotion. "I am not asking you to carry me," he said. "I am asking you to stand with me for a while." Meera's voice became colder. You want support. I want security. The difference between those two words cracked the room open. Ravi glanced at a framed photo on the wall. Meera's graduation. He remembered her smile that day, the way she had hugged him and promised she would always take care of him. Promises felt easy when life was smooth. Now life was rough. And Meera's promise had turned into fear. That night, when Ravi packed his small bag, he did not pack anger. He was silent. He packed disappointment. He packed the painful knowledge that love could become conditional. And as he stepped out, he made a decision without saying it out loud. He would not beg. He would build. In the shelter, Ravi met people he would never have noticed before. A man who once drove buses, now searching for work after an injury ended his job. A woman who cooked meals for others, saving every coin for her children's school fees. A quiet student who had run away from home after failing exams and fearing shame. They were different people, but their pain sounded the same. At first, Ravi kept to himself. He did not want to share his story. It felt too personal, too heavy. But one evening, an older man sat beside him and offered half his tea. You look like someone who lost a world, the man said. Ravi gave a small smile. Maybe I did. The man nodded slowly. Then build a new one. A smaller one at first. Then bigger. That simple advice stayed with Ravi. At the community center, Ravi noticed how the students entered the room. Some arrived loud and confident, hiding insecurity behind jokes. Some entered quietly, sitting at the back, afraid to be seen failing. Ravi recognized those faces. He had seen them in factories and workshops for years. He knew the fear behind their eyes. So he changed his teaching style. He started with something they could win. He brought a small broken item the first day. A cheap old fan. This is your first lesson, he said. If you fix small things, you will learn to fix big things. If you fix big things, you will fix your life. The room became quiet. Ravi divided them into pairs. He guided them gently. He showed them how to observe, how to listen, how to move slowly instead of rushing. When the fan started again, the room erupted in smiles, laughter, and surprised pride. Ravi pointed at their faces. Remember this feeling. This is not luck. This is skill. Over the next weeks, he gave them small challenges. A loose wire. A jammed mechanism. A noisy motor. Each solution built confidence like bricks building a wall. Meera's message came again after a few days. Where are you staying? Ravi read it. His thumb hovered over the screen. He could reply. He could tell the truth. He could make her feel guilty. But he chose something else. He chose silence. Not to punish her. To protect himself. If he started depending on her care again, he might collapse when it disappeared. Ravi did not want fragile support. He wanted solid ground. One day, Anjali noticed Ravi's worn shoes and tired eyes. You are working too hard, she said. Ravi smiled faintly. Hard work does not scare me. Empty work scares me. Anjali looked thoughtful. Then let's make your work count. She introduced him to a local shop owners group who often needed small repairs. Ravi began getting steady calls. Not expensive jobs, but consistent ones. Enough to move from the shelter into a small rented room sooner than he expected. That first night in his rented room, Ravi placed his tools carefully on a shelf. He sat on the floor, alone, and listened to the silence. It did not feel lonely. It felt free. Before opening the envelope, Ravi noticed something else. The letter had his full name printed neatly, along with the center's address. It meant someone had taken time to do it properly. Someone had seen him as more than a temporary worker. He opened it carefully, as if speed would damage the meaning. But the letter was not only about expansion. It was about evaluation. A committee would visit the center. They would watch Ravi teach. They would review results. If they approved, they would fund the program. If they did not, they would withdraw support. Anjali's face tightened when she read the letter. "This is pressure," she said. Ravi nodded. "Pressure is not new. But fear is dangerous." The next few days became intense. Ravi cleaned the training room, checked every tool, and prepared clear demonstrations. He reminded students to be punctual, respectful, and calm. Meera volunteered longer hours. She organized files, created clean attendance sheets, and helped students prepare short introductions for the committee. At first, the students were nervous about Meera. "She looks strict," one whispered. Ravi heard it and smiled. "She is learning too. Give her time." Meera overheard that and felt a sting. She realized her old self had been strict, not strong. Control had been her habit. Now she was trying to unlearn it. The committee arrived on a Monday morning. 3 members, clean suits, polite smiles, sharp eyes. They watched the room like judges. Ravi began his session calmly. He did not perform. He taught the way he always did, steady and real. He asked a student to explain a basic concept. The student hesitated, then spoke clearly. He asked another student to demonstrate a repair. The student made a small mistake, then corrected it calmly, using Ravi's method. The committee members took notes. Then one of them asked a question that felt like a trap. "What happens if your best instructor leaves?" the man asked. The room went quiet. Students looked at Ravi. Meera's stomach tightened. Ravi did not panic. He pointed toward 2 assistant instructors he had been training quietly. "Then the program continues," Ravi said. "Because I am not building my name. I am building a system." That answer changed the air in the room. After the committee left, Anjali exhaled hard. "That went better than I expected." Ravi smiled. "Because the truth is easy to carry." That night, Meera sat with Ravi outside the center. "I used to think power was taking control," she said quietly. "Now I see power is building people." Ravi nodded. "You are seeing clearly now." Meera looked down. "I wish I had seen it earlier." Ravi did not blame her. He simply said, "Do not waste the pain. Use it to change." The house repairs took longer than expected. Ravi found more damage behind the wall. Old pipes. Weak joints. A slow leak that had been growing for months. Meera looked ashamed. "I should have noticed." Ravi shook his head. "A house does not break in one day. It breaks when people stop listening to it." Meera swallowed. "And people break the same way." Ravi glanced at her, acknowledging the meaning. That evening, Meera cooked dinner. Not fancy, but careful. Rice, lentils, and vegetables. She placed the plate in front of Ravi like someone placing an apology on a table. Ravi ate quietly. Meera watched him and finally spoke. "When I told you to leave, I expected something." Ravi looked up. "What?" Meera's voice trembled. "I expected you to come back begging. I expected you to be helpless." Ravi's eyes remained calm. "And when I did not?" Meera's shoulders dropped. "I felt angry at first. Then I was scared. Then ashamed. Because it meant you never needed to lose your dignity. I forced you out because I wanted to feel safe." Ravi placed his spoon down. "Safety built from cruelty is not safety," he said. "It is a trap." Meera nodded slowly. "I see that now." Ravi stood and walked to the living room. He looked at a shelf where an old small wooden box sat. It belonged to his late wife, Meera's mother. Ravi had not touched it in years. Meera noticed his gaze. "Do you miss her?" she asked. Ravi's throat tightened. "Every day." Meera's eyes filled. "I think. I was scared of losing you too," she admitted. "So I pushed you away before life could take you." Ravi turned back to her, surprised by the honesty. "That fear is real," he said softly. But pushing love away does not protect it. Meera wiped her tears quickly. I want to change. Even if it takes years. Ravi nodded. Then be patient with yourself, and with me. That night, Ravi did not sleep in the house. He returned to his rented room. But the next day, he came back again, not as a man seeking shelter, but as a man offering connection. Meera realized something powerful. Her father was not returning to his old place. He was returning as a new person. And she had to rise to meet that version of him. The funding brought opportunity, but it also brought attention. People who ignored Ravi before now wanted to shake his hand. Some congratulated him loudly in public, as if they had always supported him. Ravi noticed the pattern but did not complain. He simply watched, learning who was real. One day, Ravi received a call from his former manager. Ravi, the man said in a bright tone. I heard you are doing amazing work. Very proud of you. Ravi stayed silent for a moment. Thank you, he replied calmly. The manager continued. We are reopening a small department. We might need someone experienced. Maybe you could consult. Meera, standing nearby, overheard and froze. She expected Ravi to explode with anger or to feel satisfied. But Ravi only asked one question. Why now? He said. The manager laughed lightly. Because we see you are valuable. Ravi's voice stayed steady. You saw my value for years. You just did not respect it. The line went quiet. The manager cleared his throat. So, are you interested? Ravi looked at Meera for a second, then back at the phone. No, Ravi said simply. Not because I hate you. Because my work is here now. He ended the call. Meera stared at him. That was a chance, she said softly. Ravi nodded. A chance to return to the place that removed me when I was weak. I do not need that chance. He looked at her carefully. Do you understand what I did? Meera nodded slowly. You chose yourself. Ravi smiled. I chose a purpose. That evening, Meera felt something shift inside her. She used to believe success meant proving people wrong. Now she saw success meant not needing their approval at all. After the event, people surrounded Ravi. Some asked for photos. Some asked for advice. Some asked for favors. Ravi answered politely but kept his boundaries. Anjali approached him with a quiet smile. You handled that well, she said. Ravi nodded. Attention can be louder than failure, he replied. Both can be distracting. Meera stood at the edge of the crowd, watching. For the first time in her life, she saw her father as someone the world listened to. Not because of a job title. Because of his presence. Later, as they walked, Meera's phone rang. It was her supervisor. We saw the news, the supervisor said. We did not know your father was involved in that program. Meera's stomach tightened. Yes, she replied carefully. The supervisor paused. The company is considering a community partnership. We want you to lead the coordination since you have a connection. Meera felt the old fear rise again. She remembered how she used to chase stability, how she used to treat people like risks. This time, she answered differently. I will lead it, she said. But it must be real support, not just a logo. The supervisor hesitated. We will discuss details. Meera ended the call and looked at Ravi. I said no to fake support, she said. Ravi nodded with quiet pride. That is growth. In the weeks that followed, Meera kept her promise. She pushed for real funding, real internships, real equipment for the center. She worked with Anjali respectfully and listened to the students. She learned their names, their struggles, their hope. Some students still looked at her with doubt at first, but over time, that doubt softened. Ravi watched it all and felt something he had not felt in a long time. Peace. One evening, Meera placed a small envelope on the table in the house. What is this? Ravi asked. Meera swallowed. I paid off part of the loan, she said. Not to show off. Just to lighten our future. Ravi looked at her carefully. You did not need to show me this. I needed to, Meera replied. Because before, I hid behind numbers. Now I want my actions to be clear. Ravi nodded. Then let us keep building. In the final moment of the story, Ravi did not win because his daughter regretted. He won because he rebuilt his life without bitterness. Meera did not change because she was forced. She changed because she finally understood what love really demanded. And the house, once full of tension, slowly became a home again.